Sales with Avisae. I'm glad to be with you tonight. I'm excited that you're here. What we're going to be talking to you about tonight is the Blue Ocean Business Group and what the Blue Ocean Business Group is. Possibly you are invited here tonight by a friend, a colleague, an associate, a business associate, or a contact to kind of give you an overview of what we have, what our business group is, what we do, and how we do it. This call isn't to talk you in or out of anything. I learned long ago that stuff doesn't work. A little bit about myself. I'm the Director of Sales with Avisae and a training consultant within the Avisae Corporation within the Blue Ocean Business Group. Over the last 10 years, built an organization that did over 36,000 different individuals and produced over $150 million in revenue in basically about just under a decade. Been financially independent, financially free for most of my entire adult life. I just turned 30 this year. But this isn't about me. This is about you and what you want in life. And what we want to do is kind of share with you some insights about how our business group could help you accomplish some of the different things that you'd want to do in life, or just have a different angle. So let's jump right into that, and let's just keep moving things forward. Okay, the Blue Ocean Business Group gets their name from a business book called Blue Ocean Strategy. Now, the Blue Ocean Strategy simply lays out the difference between a red ocean or competition and a blue ocean, which is uncontested market space. So if you think of this in a parallel, what is a red ocean? Why would the water in the ocean be red? Because it's bloody. Bloodied water comes from blood. What are attracted to blood? Sharks. Sharks come and they eat survival of the fittest. More sharks come, more bloody the water gets, more competition, more fierce the competitive market share is, and companies and individuals and people have to work harder and harder within that dog-eat-dog survival of the fittest marketplace. The blue ocean is an uncontested marketplace that separates yourself from your competitors and your industry enough that basically you are standalone. All the water around you is blue. And we feel that what we've put together, and the reason why we call ourselves the Blue Ocean Business Group, is simply that, is because everything that we do is just a little bit different from separating ourselves from what other things would be out there. One of the biggest key and common denominators is that the Blue Ocean Business Group is monitored by a board of directors. These are board of directors. These are individuals that are building a Blue Ocean business, part of the organization, and they are elected individuals. They're like us. They're for us. They were elected among us to build and monitor what activities are going on within the channel commerce industry. These are individuals that have had incredible amounts of success over the years, such as myself and many others that are on the board, because we know what really works and what works for long term. And so this board monitors, and there's a binding contract between the Blue Ocean Business Group and the independent business owners of the board or the board of directors. So that allows us to not have any changes, any compliance issues, any policies and procedures, where now what you have is protected by a board of directors. You can get a lot more information about that if that pertains to you, but that's just kind of a safety net that people have, and that's one of the very first things that we do within the Blue Ocean Business Group to separate ourselves to make the waters blue. Next thing, I kind of want to talk a little bit about you and why you're here tonight, why you're listening to this. Okay, what is the lifestyle that you want? Well, I remember when I was younger, I was looking at my life and saying, hey, I'd love to do that, but I don't have enough time. Well, why didn't I have time? I was so busy working, doing things that I needed to do to generate money, pay the bills. And then when I got a little bit more time, I'd call my friends and say, hey, let's go do some things. Let's go hang out. But then they'd say, I don't have the money. And everything in my life was controlled by these two decisions, not enough time and not enough money. Not enough time, not enough money. Let me ask you this question. What would your life look like if you could solve those two questions within your life? If time and money were no longer limiting factors, would you donate to church and charity more? Would you have a retirement? Would you invest more? Where would you travel? What would you do? Would you pay off your debt, pay off your home? Would you get a deeper education? What would the next 3 to 5 years look like if you had time and money together? Maybe you're liking, the aspens and go up into the mountains and see the evergreens. Maybe you like, sitting around the campfire in the outdoors. Maybe you like the beach. Maybe it's sitting on the beach, sinking your toes into the sand. Maybe it's just waking up on a Tuesday and a Wednesday in the middle of the week while everybody's at work and you and your family can stay home because you have enough money coming in that you don't have to go out and chase for it. What would your life look like? What are the possibilities for you? And that's what we want to talk about over the next few minutes, is exactly how that you can do that and live that lifestyle. You see, everybody participates in what's called the enterprise system. And the enterprise system is where 100% of individuals make their income. Okay, Rockefeller said that he'd rather make 100% or 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of his own. J. Paul Getty was quoted doing the same thing. The interesting thing about this is that most people just wind up on the wrong side of the enterprise system. See, in the early 1900s, there was over 90% of the population worked for themselves. They were on the right side. They were a business owner. That's where the majority of the wealth was. Well, slowly, 100 years later, people have fallen back to the left side. You'll hear me reference the left side versus the right side of the enterprise system. So let's simply go through and talk specifically about what that is and what that represents. The left side is where the 95% of the population reside. There is either an employee or self-employed individual. And the only options for them to live the dream that they want, to have the lifestyle that they want, to have time and money together, is the only way that they make their income is from an employee, is they work for a system, they work for somebody else, and the only way for them to raise their money is by trading time for dollars. The only way they make more money is by working more hours or getting paid more per hour. Then the self-employed individual, the only way that they make more money is by seeing more clients, working more hours. And so there's the contractor, the landscaper, the developer. These are the doctors, the lawyers, the real estate agents, the mortgage brokers. Those are the individuals that are self-employed, but if they stop doing what they're doing, they'll have no income. If the employee stops doing what they're doing, they'll have no income. That's where 95% of the population participate within the enterprise system. The downside to this is that only 5% of the wealth comes from the left side of the quadrant, the left side of the free enterprise system. See, think of this as kind of an economic river, where water flows through the river. Well, economic river would obviously be your income, your well-being, your money. So the left side, these employee and self-employed individuals, they've got different size of buckets. Some people have 2 or 3 or 4 buckets in a household. Some buckets are bigger, some buckets are smaller. But every single day, they have to go down to that river and dip their bucket into that river and then go back home. When the water in that bucket is gone, they have to go right back down to the river for their source of income or their source of water. So what we're trying to do is to show people how to get to the right side of the enterprise system, how to get into the blue ocean of the economic river. And that's the right side where 5% of the population earn their income, earn their wealth, their money. But 95% of the wealth is generated through the business owner or the investor. And there's a vast difference in how those individuals create their income and create their lifestyle. See, think about it. The business owner owns a system. That system creates leverage. That leverage allows them to have time and money together. So what they do with their money is they, just like everybody else, they have to go down to that economic river with their income, but over time they build a channel. They build a pipeline. They build a distribution outlet. And what happens, that's called a system. And what happens is that the water tends to flow through that pipeline, flow through that channel, flow through that distribution outlet. And as they flow through it, through that system, their income comes back to them every single month over and over through that business because of leverage and the system. And they can eventually stop going down to the river because they've built a pipeline. The investor can then take their money from their business and invest it into other channels, multiple streams of income. And so they make money with their money. So our objective is to help you get to the right side of the enterprise system to participate where the majority of the wealth in the population in the enterprise system is created. So see, if we think about this, I'm not here to talk you in or out of anything, but if you think of the statistics, the vast majority of individuals, okay, according to the Social Security Administration, 95% of individuals out of 100, by the time they reach 65 years old, will wind up being dead broke, or on a dwindling Social Security. Meaning that 95% of the population at retirement age of 65 will end up still having a job, still having no retirement by the time. So out of 100 people, 95 of them aren't even considered wealthy. They're not even considered rich. 4 are considered financially stable. Those people are financially stable because they participate in the economic river on the right side in the blue ocean. 1 is wealthy. If we break down what the wealthy 1% do, again, I told you a minute ago, I want to validate everything that we're going to talk about with actual facts and documentation, not to talk you in or out of anything, but to lay everything out on the line. If we break down the interagency report of what the wealthy 1% do and where the wealth is distributed in the enterprise system, 74% of the wealth comes from business ownership. So we've obviously understood that to have a fair chance, to have a fighting chance, you have to get to the right side. You have to get to the blue ocean. You have to participate in the economic river in a different way than where most people do it. And that's providing yourself with a business ownership and asset channels to be able to do that. So let's jump into this and actually talk about what is the blue ocean and how do we solve that problem for individuals. Blue Ocean Business Group takes a 3-tiered approach. Now the 3 tiers is simply this. Okay? Tier 1 is that business. So the key to success is you need a business to get to the right side of the enterprise system. We're going to talk about what that business is. That's the Avisae business and the Avisae marketplace. Any business needs products, goods, or services to exchange for people's revenue. The next thing, tier 2, is you need a system, education. You need a pattern of how to build that business. There's a learning on the job. Their on-the-job training is great. You can learn vicariously. You learn by the hard knocks is great. But if you can learn from the people who've been before you, that have figured out what works, they can tell you what to avoid, and you can streamline your success. That system means that your business is now operational whether you put time or effort into it. It's not dependent upon how good you are as an individual, your time, your effort, your talent. The results that you get within your business have everything to do with how well you are operating that system. And we're going to talk more about that. The 3rd tier is then what you do to have long-term wealth. See, that's what everybody wants. In the beginning, I simply asked you, what would you do if you had time and money? See, a lot of people, if they just had time and money, sometimes we think about the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and the Maseratis, but ultimately, if you knew all I cared about, by the time I graduated school, all I wanted to do was be making a few $1,000s so that I wouldn't need a job. I'd have time and money. That's a lifestyle. And what is that lifestyle? We provide you to get that with our Tier 3 option. That's the wealth of this business. How do you compound the money that you've made and generated from Tiers 1 and 2, and how do you create that long-term asset, that lifestyle? How do you multiply it again? How do you get your money working for you? Those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about of what the Blue Ocean Business Group is, and let's just dive into them and see if we can be done in the next few minutes. The Avisae marketplace, Tier 1. For any business to be out there, you need to have products, goods, and services exchanged for people's revenue. The Avisae product strategy was established for long-term stability. We didn't want to have those big S-curve spikes by creating products, goods, or services that were in demand today and not in demand tomorrow. And by doing that, we had to come up with product categories that are called brands. We wanted to be a house of brands rather than a branded house. And that allows people to have highly consumable products, meaning that we'd rather sell you the food in your refrigerator than to sell you the refrigerator. We'd rather sell you the gas in your car than to sell you the car. The product strategy are products that people are going to be using that there's a high demand for them, but they're not going to go out of style. Now, how we did that, because we know that that alone is a very red ocean. It's a very competitive marketplace. How do we become a blue ocean in that marketplace is by value innovation. What value innovation is simply where high increased value with reduced cost meet. We wanted to offer on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, 1 being low, the highest quality product available, 1 being the lowest available price. We wanted to offer where those meet without jeopardizing quality and price. We wanted to offer the highest available, best in class, best in science, best in nature, highly, research, a lot of data around these, the best in class products available. We will not produce products that are not the best scientifically validated, documented products that we can possibly create. But we also didn't want to put them at the highest price point. We wanted to put them at a price point that people would buy them anyway. That's what value innovation is. Some examples of some of those product lines, just to give you an example, because this product category and these brands are constantly getting bigger and changing. They're constantly growing. So some of those examples of brands would be personal care, personal care, skincare products. Who do you know that has skin, right? Who do you know that takes a shower? Who do you know that uses soap? And those are personal care products. Who do you know that has to shave or that, takes a bath or has hair? Those are products that people will use. But how do you provide value innovation? Another brands would be people who would be wanting to have sports nutrition and diet and weight loss, energy, anti-aging, vitamins and supplementation, personal care and health care. Those are just a few different categories of what the Avisae marketplace offers, and that is being ongoing and constantly growing, making your pipeline and the diameter of your pipeline even bigger. And I've just highlighted some of the few. You could have a standalone company just on our renew and revitalize personal care products. Best in science out there. Three different patents over 20 years that go around there. I think there's 20-something different patents of all of our products combined. You could build an entire organization and a business just on our Relieve product. The anti-inflammatory market, $100 billion domestically. You could build an entire company just off that one product alone. And we didn't want to limit the economic potential of anybody's opportunity. And we didn't want to limit the type of products categories that people could go into. And that's what we're doing, is we pump those products through channels. That's what you're building, is asset channels. These are perpetual asset channels. In order to get paid every month, every year, every decade, you've got to exchange people's money for revenue every month, every year, every decade. And so that's what creates the long-term permanence, is you're building these asset channels. Let me give you an idea of what that would look like. Think to yourself, I want to talk about 2, not dozens, just 2 of the over 20 different ways individuals can make money within the Avisae Corporation, the Avisae program. 2 ways. Could you, if you really wanted to, with our help, introduce those product lines, find individuals, introduce them to our business model, the Blue Ocean Business Group, with our support team? Could you introduce a few people? And if the answer is yes, you've just got yourself a $50 paycheck every month. Again, I want to highlight 2 of over 20 different ways. Okay? And that's how that simply grows, is how would you duplicate that again? We'll just simply ask those people that same question. Do they know people that would use these products? Do they like them? Are they compelling? Do they know people that would want to make more money, that would want to have a better lifestyle? Do they know people that want to have, better hope for tomorrow than there is today? And if the answer is yes, in short order, you just got yourself another $250 paycheck. And by asking yourself the same question again, you can simply do the math. That's a $1,500 a month paycheck. As individuals simply follow that one model, we call it Quicksilver. As you just follow that one model, $1,500 in short order will come just by introducing some products and a business model to some individuals. That is a powerful way of making money. Ask yourself this. Not everybody gets excited about $1,500, but be honest with yourself. Would $1,500 a month, would that raise your income to meet your dream? Would that alleviate some pressure at home? Would that make your buckets a little bit bigger in that economic river? Would that allow you to have a little bit more time and a little bit more money? Would that alleviate yourself to have a little bit more possibilities? The second way is by simply calling it accelerate. What we want to do is get these channels deeper. By deeper, what I mean by is more volume pumped through those channels. The bigger the diameter of the pipeline, the more volume can be pumped through it. What's the volume coming from? From those products, goods, and services from the Avisae marketplace. Every increment of eight deep, every increment of 800 in volume, you'll get an $800 paycheck. 8 deep, another $800 paycheck. For every 3 sets of 8 in each one of these channels, you'll have a $2,500 paycheck, plus the $1,500 that I've talked about with the Quicksilver. As you add those two together, that creates a $4,000 a month paycheck. $4,000 a month. What is that worth from an asset, from a pipeline, from a channel, from an investment standpoint? Why would somebody put time and effort into doing that? Whether that would take you 6 months, a year, 1 or 2 years, either way, what is that worth? Once you've created that, what is it really worth from an investment standpoint? Let's simply do some math. That's worth $1 million. You've just built yourself $1 million asset. How do I come up with that number? $1 million times 5%, and I'm being conservative. $1 million times 5% interest. That's equivalent to $1 million in real estate paid for, the equity. $1 million in the bank at 5%. $1 million in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, collecting 5% interest. $1 million of cash, 5%, gives you $50,000. $50,000 divided by 12 months in a year is $4,000 a month. What qualifies for that to be an asset is that it's solid, stable, and flat. I'm not talking about some hike that something is growing at 20 or 30% in compounded growth. I'm talking about something that is real and solid. Does that alleviate people to raise their income to meet their dream and lifestyle? Does that give them more possibilities? How do you get more? Simply by introducing this business model, sharing products, and finding one person in each channel to build $1 million asset. That's what those red people represent. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where, but one person in each channel to build $1 million asset, making $4,000 a month from products, goods, and services in their channel, and you've got an $8,000 paycheck or a $2 million asset. What I mean by a $2 million asset, that's equivalent to sticking $2 million into a 401k with $2 million in the bank at 5% interest. That's $100,000. $100,000 divided by 12 months is an $8,000 a month paycheck. That's solid and stable and flat and perpetual. That's all you need to qualify this income as residual. Simply find 3 individuals in each one of these channels to go out and build a $4,000 paycheck or $1 million asset, and you've got a $3.6 million asset or a $15,000 a month paycheck. All these different ways, what you're seeing right now, or the other dozen, 18 so on different ways that you can make money within the program. Add that on top of, all these different ways, and there's big money for some individuals. Individuals like myself and others that have made millions of dollars throughout their life doing, this type of business through the channel commerce industry. It's not a matter of if it'll work. It's a matter of will you work. We've got the pipeline. We've created it. The power of the Quicksilver and Accelerator model is simply staggering that no matter what level of income you'd want to make, you can reach it. The big question is how do you simply create that income? How do you create those channels? How do you create the volume? Where do you create the revenue from those pipelines, from those products, goods, and services? It's from our Tier 2. That's the Blue Ocean Success System. Now, the Blue Ocean Success System is a personal growth, personal development training platform on how to do your business in the marketplace with a compensation plan attached. Let me give you an example of what that system looks like. Okay, that's brochures, that's webinars, that's live interaction, live mentoring, that's books, that's CDs. Think of this as how people learn in life. They go to school, they pay their tuition, they study, they learn at their own pace. It's non-confronting. But the downside is, you've heard the expression broke college student. So they spend a lot of money for that tuition and that education, but no money actually applying it until they're done. So the education that simply you can participate within the Blue Ocean Success System for simply $20 a month, it would be the tuition, but at the same time, it pays you to participate in it. It pays you to learn how to be more effective in building those pipelines. The second thing how people learn is, think about the trial and error method. See, if you go out and trial and error, well, you can, if you're a plumber, you can screw up a few toilets and drains. You could learn eventually. But the third way of people learning is that mentor and apprentice style, on the job, somebody showing you what to do, physically being there, the mentorship, okay? And that third way of how people learn is where you can jump out of your comfort zone. That's the downside, is you got to start doing things that you're not quite comfortable doing, possibly. But what's the upside? Is you're making money faster. There's somebody to tell you what to do, how to do it every step of the way. And what the Blue Ocean Success System, of the 3 different ways of learning, is the best of the 2 that make you the most money. The classroom education style, you can learn at your own pace, but you also have mentors to help you to apply it so that you're incredibly cash flow positive within a matter of a few days to a week or 2. That's just simply how the Blue Ocean Success System works. It's not what you get, it's who you become in the process. That success isn't a destination, it's a journey. And as you learn, as you develop, as you grow, as you become a better person, along with the things that you're learning, you can apply them in every aspect of your life. We just teach you how to apply them with the Blue Ocean Business Group to create long-term permanence in income. The third tier is simply what to do with that income, where to invest it, where to put it, how to make it last forever, how to keep it growing. Once you've generated income from Tier 1, once you've generated an income from Tier 2, the personal development, leadership, and education platform, now what do you do with it? How do you make it long-term and permanent? And that's through our financial retirement planning, the Legacy Asset Advisors. We've partnered with Ron Simmons, who is an owner of a company down in Texas. He's also a Texas state legislator that they manage $2 billion worth of assets. They give a very significant return on those assets. So with that partnership, we've allowed individuals to have access to that investment program because as part of being a member of the Blue Ocean Business Group and their Avisae business. Because here's why. In the very beginning, I told you about that board. Ron Simmons is the chairman of that board. One of his partners in that company is one of the owners of the Avisae marketplace. So it is a very unique and strategic partnership that we have here that allows people to make money, to provide them with a business platform, to teach them how to operate that business with no prior experience, but then to give them access to long-term permanence and finances so that they can build long-term wealth. And I'm not talking about something that takes you 30, 40, 50 years of somebody's life to do it. This is something that you could do in your retirement years. This is something that you could do right out of high school in your 20s. I personally started doing this when I was 21 years old, living in my mom and dad's basement. The powerful thing is by the time I was 30, how old I am now, we've generated millions and millions of dollars through this business model and platform. There's thousands of people that are being impacted worldwide because of the Avisae marketplace on products. There's thousands of individuals that are being mentored by individuals within the Blue Ocean Success System that are applying that information and leadership skills and how to apply it into a business platform like their Avisae business. And there's countless individuals that are investing their money in building long-term permanence and wealth through the Legacy Asset Advisors. Well, part of the Legacy Asset program is that we give people ownership shares. Now, 1% of Avisae's global revenue goes into a share program, a profit sharing or a revenue sharing program. The individuals get a chance to become a part of the Avisae program, and when they join, they can actually participate in shares. And how you get more shares is by building a bigger pipeline, building bigger channels, by creating more volume of the products, goods, and services through the Avisae marketplace. And you get more shares. Now, we're not publicly traded, but yet this gives you a chance of having ownership of the program. And that's a powerful way. How do you simply get shares is by simply participating within the ownership, by simply enrolling and picking one of multiple different options of which share program you'd want to participate in. Would you want the optimal nutrition, complete optimal nutrition for 1 share? Would you want the personal skincare and anti-aging reflections line for 1 share? Would you want a combination of both for 2.5 shares and get all of the different brands and categories of products that Avisae's marketplace has, that you can learn how to do that through the Blue Ocean Business Group and the training environment? Either way, get with the individual who sent you this information tonight. Get with them and learn more about what the science behind these products are. And pick which package makes the most sense for you, 1 share or 2.5 shares, and move forward to the next step. Ultimately, like I started, I simply wanted to validate everything with documentation and facts and statistics and not talk you in or out of anything. But what would your life look like with the Blue Ocean Business Group, with the marketplace of Avisae and these pipelines and these channels and an income coming in of $4,000, $8,000, $15,000 or more? What would your life look like with an additional few $100s to a few $1,000s? Would you now have more time? Who would you spend it with? Who would you want to call and talk to? Who would you want to say, hey, come to the beaches of the world with us? Hey, let's go see the African safaris. Would you donate to church and charity? Would you give to the community more? With more time, what would you do? Would you go up to the mountains? Would you go travel and see things? Who would you want to do it with? Think about those people. Who would you want to do it with? What would you do with more money? Would you travel the world? Are you a fishing person? Do you like to fish? Maybe you like going and golfing with some friends, or taking the family to Disney World or Disneyland, or seeing the sights all over. What would you like to do? Would you upgrade your home and living conditions? Would you travel the world more? What would you do with more money? Imagine what your life would look like. Because what the individual who sent this information to you thought enough about you to say, I want to do that with you. And we've got millionaires that have had the chance to take an interest in our lives, that are willing to dedicate their time and their talents and their effort to help us to do these things. What your next step would be is to get back with the individual who sent you this information tonight. Get back with them and review some material within the next 24 to 48 hours while the information is fresh in your mind. Get what we call a Success Connected Kit. And a Success Connected Kit is an overnight materials for you to listen to, for you to look at, for you to read through, some materials of the Blue Ocean Success System of how we would go about by doing this. Think of the individual who sent this to you. They thought enough of you that they'd want to send some information to you. Think of 1 or 2 or 3 people or even more that you'd want to be in business with. Who would you want to partner up and enjoy life with? Send them this material. Get some information. Just call them and simply ask them, hey, if I send you a link, would you review it? Send them this material that you're reviewing right now. Secure your legacy shares, whether that's 1 share or 2 shares, and simply move on and start enrolling today and get to the next step today. What the individual who shared this with you has truly done is introduced you to a business platform that will get yourself into a blue ocean, the right side of the enterprise system, participating in the wealth by stacking the deck into your favor, where 95% of the wealth worldwide is created through business ownership. That's through the Avisae platform. Training you exactly how to do it by multimillionaires who have gone through the steps, that have gone through and built a business using this platform and model, that know exactly how to do it in the most efficient and effective way, that can train you every step of the way on how to do it through the Tier 2, the leadership training system. And then having a platform to build long-term permanence that you can leave behind to your family, to those relatives. You could also sell it if you choose, if you don't want to leave it behind, to build long-term success. What we've simply introduced you to is a long-term business model that allows individuals to have the income that they simply want to have. What is it that your life would look like today with long-term wealth? What is it that you would do different tomorrow, on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, in the middle of the week at 2 a.m.? What would you do different at 2 in the afternoon? What would you do different at, come 10 o'clock in rush hour traffic? What would your life be different with an extra income coming in? How would you do it? Go throughout your day-to-day life. To contact the individual who got back with you and this information that we've shared with you, because what they've truly done is sharing with you some information that truly can impact your life. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, you guys. The information that we've shared with you, get back with them and move forward to the next step. Thanks so much, and this webinar is officially over.